Hi there, we're back to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that is EQ, emotional intelligence. And we're going to specifically talk about this week social awareness, also known as relationship awareness. So, we have talked about the first two parts so far of the four parts of EQ, specifically based on the model rolled out by Travis Bradberry. So we spent some time talking about self-awareness. Then we talked about self-management. And so this week we're going to talk about social awareness. And this adds to that complexity. So that self-awareness, we talked about how important it is to know where we are and understanding ourselves and the steps of doing that. Then we talked about the important aspect of managing ourselves. So when we have those feelings, those emotions, well, what do we do with them? How do we use them to our advantage? How do we use them to the advantage of our relationships? So this week, we're going to get even more into the relationship aspect by now going beyond being aware of ourselves, managing ourselves, but now being aware of others, which is very important. And so how do we do that? Because we wake up every day, we look in the mirror, we spend more time with ourselves, obviously, than anyone else in the entire world. But it's very important for us to, in relationships, to be very aware of those we have connections with or who we meet. And so how do we do that? Why do we do that? Well, first of all, we do it because it's going to be important in order for us to benefit others, to serve them, to help them, to be a benefit to them, to know them. If we don't know them, there's no way we're going to truly understand what their needs are, how we're going to serve and benefit them. And then coupled with that, it's going to be difficult for us to get what we want out of relationships if we're not able to provide in relationships what other people need. So these are the motivating factors for social awareness. So let's get into perhaps some ways to focus on others and being aware of them. So first and foremost, we want to be engaging when we're with them. And that means different things. It could be something as small as calling someone by their name. Sometimes we take that for granted, especially for people who we've known for a long time, whether we work with them for a long time or even we're friends with them for a long time. The most beautiful sound, someone said, and I believe it, is someone's name. I mean, some people, let's granted, do hate their names for whatever reason. But for most of us, when someone uses our name in a positive way, that's one of the biggest gifts that people can give. And so using someone's name in an endearing way when we speak to them, whether it's someone we work with or someone personal in our lives, is one of the most important, impactful things that we can do. Another way we can pay attention to others and be socially aware of others is by paying attention to their body language. Yes, it is true that nonverbal language makes up about 65% of what is communicated. So you may be talking to someone and they turn sideways, sort of like this. The door is where they're facing. That's an indication they're ready to go. They're not. They've overstayed their stay. Or say you've been talking to someone and all of a sudden you see subsequent yawns. That's another sign. Okay, the conversation is wrapping up. Or you may say something and you might see like a little, squinch of the nose. That is a sign that they might not completely agree with what you said, or something you said might have rubbed them, the wrong way. And then there are, more common ways to read body language, whether it's the closed arms, which can definitely communicate either one, this person's very formal, or two, which can be connected, you're not in the trust zone. So they're protecting themselves for some reason. These are just obviously very few ways that you can understand someone's body language, and there's plenty of literature on that and various experts who can help guide you through understanding body language. But the key that I'm making, that is a very important step to understanding someone, to being aware to the social situations, because you want to know when you are talking too much or if you're saying something that is offensive. And a great way of knowing that is by paying attention to how the person with you is responding to what you're saying. Another important thing to keep in mind, and this is something I've had to learn myself, is, sometimes we're so focused on getting things done and gathering information that we're focusing on the doing aspect. But there's this other aspect of really making sure that people know that they have your full attention. So one thing that I've started to do, at least with most of my meetings and sessions, is to handwrite. It takes a little longer, obviously, to transcribe that when you need to electronically. But what it does is it avoids the person feeling like you're focused more on the keyboard and they're hearing the loud keyboard clatter. Some people even go as far as to not take notes. I know that can be difficult in a business setting because there's information that you need to capture. But I will say the more that you can make eye contact, whether it's a meeting or an interview or just hanging out with someone who's important to you, the more special that person is going to feel, and the more that you're going to be able to be aware of what's going on in that social exchange, in that connection that you have with that person. And so that goes and is very easily connecting to the next step. And the next one is making sure that you are practicing active listening. So you are paraphrasing what the person said, maybe making sure that you're repeating if there's any question that you may mishear or misconstrue something, you're repeating what the person said. Did I get that right? Is that what you said? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that how you feel about that? This not only clarifies what may be assumptions on your end, but it also shows the person that you are making an effort to hear them correctly, and hear them completely. So in general, what you want to do in being aware of your social environment is paying attention, keeping your focus on others, acknowledging them, not only initially, but throughout the entire social experience, environment, meeting, appointment, date, whatever it is. And keeping that attention as you're listening, making sure that you're testing what you think you've heard for accuracy, making sure that you're giving them your attention, not only verbally, but also with your eyes, as well as with your body. As we said, there are different ways that we can show body language. And so as you're reading other people, they're also reading you. So you want to make sure that you're communicating what you want to communicate, not only with your eyes, with what you're saying, but also with your body in those interactions. I hope that has been helpful. I look forward to us connecting again to next discuss relationship management, that fourth, final, and ultimate phase of emotional intelligence. Have a great one.